Hi, everyone. Good morning. Let me see. Why am I so white here? There we go. My name is Denise. I am a health freedom activist in California, and I have a blog on Facebook called The Informed Mama. I also have a YouTube channel called The Informed Mama, where all of my videos will be uploaded to YouTube so that way you can share it or just in case you miss it. So today I'm going to be talking with a friend of mine. He is from California, and we will be discussing homeschool. So all the wonderful things that come with homeschool. I know a lot of people get real nervous when it comes to homeschooling, and they don't know where to start, and they don't know the entities that are there to protect you legally in case the school districts or anybody decides to give you a hard time. So I'm going to wait for my friend David to get on, and we're going to do a little bit of Q&A, but he's going to talk to us about how to get started. And there he is. So let me bring him on. There we go. Add. Hello. All right. So he's going to jump on, and we're going to get started with all of the great information. He is like the homeschool guru. He really has so much information. So David, I sent you an invitation. Go ahead and accept it, and we'll do a side-by-side. So hi guys, hi everyone. Let's hope Facebook, I know sometimes it just doesn't work out. So I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day weekend. It was amazing for me. I had my children and my family, and it was great. So hopefully David's able to connect. And David, if you're having a problem, let me know, and then we can try to exit out and try one more time. So it will be on YouTube. So for right now, we're going to go live, and then once my video is over, I will upload it to YouTube. So it takes a little bit. It'll be done this afternoon. Hi, Gretchen. David, I don't know why it's not accepting. So in the meantime, we have a lot of bills going on in California. So this is why I decided that we need help from outside sources that have the information for homeschooling. So right now in California, we have a bill called SB 276, and that bill, it interferes with the patient-doctor relationship. So it's going to cause it's going to cause a board to look over everybody's medical exemption, because in California, all we have is medical for exemption waivers. David, are you having a problem getting on? If you can let me know, and maybe I can try to fix it from this side. And then we have SB 421, which is being heard today. Both SB 276 and 421 will be heard today. That's the Children's Cabinet. So that is, again, a Senator Pan bill. And that bill will, it's a bill to oversee the entire care of children in California. So we have a lot of scary bills. Okay, let me try one more time to invite you. Hold on one second. David, I'm going to add you one more time, add, and then just hit accept. So we also have, hi Tia, we also have a bill called AB 499. Oh, there we go. Hi.
I got it.
All right.
Hey,
Cool.
Denise.
How are you?
Oh, I feel wonderful. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm great. It was a great, relaxing weekend. So it was nice. Now back to work.
It's important work that you're doing. So yeah, it's really, really great to be here.
Thank you for joining me. Now, if you want to kind of introduce yourself and what you do, because we have a lot of new viewers. So I'm going to give the podium to you.
Sure, absolutely. So my name is David Rodriguez. I'm principal of a private school called Valor Academy. I focus on apprenticeships and internships, accelerated graduation as well. I also do some consulting for parents for homeschooling, because it's a very challenging and fearful or intimidating type of venture, right, when you take on the whole schooling system. So we're going to be able to talk about that here, I hope, because I think maybe some ideas will help debunk that whole challenge there. I published a book, republication with John Taylor Gatto. He was the New York State Teacher of the Year. A really famous guy, inspired a lot of great people like Robert Kiyosaki, Seth Godin, Dr. Christian Northrup. He's a great man, and so the republished that book, The History of the School System, right? So as a parent, mom, dad, uncle, whoever you are, guardian, if you understand the history of the school system, this will give you courage and power and confidence when you talk with your family members or maybe the principal of the schools or the teachers, because sadly, and my mother is a retired public school teacher, and I have other family members who are in the system now. So there's not evil people necessarily in the system, but they've been confused about what an education is
Yeah.
and what the purpose was when it originated. So we'll be able to talk about that. And that's what I'm doing. And also founded the Education Options Expo a few years ago. I have a YouTube channel called Education Options TV, talking about respectful models of learning so that you can see there's schools that have been around for 100 years that don't use coercion and force. It's amazing. And that's kind of the essence of it. I just want to empower parents because I remember being a kid, and I'm an uncle for 17 years, and just really love the human spirit. And I believe that every person is genius or brilliant in their own way, and schools hurt that and intentionally. So it's a really sad thing. So I just want to help as many kids get out of the school system as possible.
That is my goal as well. You know, I have a 5-year-old and I have an 8-year-old. My 8-year-old's in public school. And it's a little overwhelming for me. I'm really scared to homeschool. I have complete faith that I will do a good job once I have direction. But we have a lot of parents who they're going to be forced to homeschool if SB 276 passes in California. And I want to give you guys the opportunity to empower yourself to know, for myself as well, it's not an impossible task, and our children aren't going to be weird. They're not going to be non-socialized. We get that a lot, right? What happens with socialization? Yeah. Well, my kid in public school has 25 minutes of playtime, and the rest he has to sit still. And the teacher had a conference with me and said he doodles. He has to sit still. He has to learn. And I'm like, he has 25 minutes of playtime. Of course he's going to doodle. So let's talk about the beginning of, okay, we want to homeschool. A lot of schools give parents a lot of grief on what the process is. So let's talk about the process.
Great. So step one, so let's say you have your child's in the school system. First of all, you got to understand you are the one who loves your child the most. You have the best intention, and the school system, they might have 150 students. So the teachers might have 150 students per day. So your child's going to this school, and the teachers may not even know your child's name because they have so many students to deal with. So again, the teachers are kind of in this factory system, which is 150 years old. So you want to understand, currently they're in a system which is hurting their minds, hurting their spirit. You said your son is 8 years old. He does not want to be sitting down for 8 hours. Nobody really wants to at that age, right? Yeah. They want to go run or play or explore the creative power that they have and the abilities. Even doodling is educational.
It is.
So starting is, it's really helpful to be creative and imaginative, right? Because going forward, mom and dad out there, the future is not going to be memorization and rote regurgitation of facts. You and I are speaking on the most revolutionary communication device in history of humanity, the internet, right? Yeah. This is big. And even myself, like, I'm in my 30s and I'm like, man, this is powerful. I saw the evolution of the internet happen, and I'm still realizing how powerful it is. So step one, mom and dad realize they're in a system which is disempowering, and the teachers probably don't even know their name without the seating chart. I mean, really sad to say that, but we're speaking about truth. True. And it's time that truth rises because it's hurting children, So that's the first part. The other part is that in no respectful relationship do you force people to do stuff. And so at age 8, what is he, second grade?
Yeah.
They are forcing a curriculum on him, and he has to get permission to go to the bathroom. It's a very disrespectful system. So you want to be aware that currently where they're at is really disempowering and harmful. So as you consider removing them from the system, you are doing them a great favor. So even if you just pull them out and like you fail as a homeschool teacher, you're going to be doing them.
Uh-oh. We got frozen. Hopefully. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, okay.
My phone started reading. Okay, and then let me give you my definition of homeschooling. Homeschooling is when a leader creates an atmosphere where personalized learning can occur, and the emphasis is on personalized learning. John Gatto, the great man, a friend and mentor of mine, he said, an education should be as unique as your thumbprints. So it is a scientific fact that there's no one like your son or daughter in the now or living or past or future. We are so unique genetically and personality-wise and all these things. So nobody can actually give a curriculum and say, this is what your child needs to know. And going future, as I mentioned, creativity, imagination, collaboration, working with other people. This is the future, and it's happening now. So that you want to understand what homeschooling is. Also, definition of education, and this is a big question, mom and dad. Think about what is your definition of education. Mine is that an education.
He keeps getting phone calls.
I wonder if I
There
should
you
turn
go.
my phone. Yeah, I don't know if I should turn the phone on airplane mode or something. I don't know what that is about. So um, let's just put it on silent there. So going back to defining what the education is, this is very important. And then defining what homeschooling education is, what you do to yourself for yourself. So just like you cannot work out for me, like say, hey, I want you to be healthy, I want you to be fit. Okay, well, you can buy me a gym membership, but you can't do the workout for me, right? So this
Right.
is why I recommend my parent clients out there, think about yourself as a learning partner with your child. So you can go to the gym and work out together like a workout partner,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't do the sit-ups for them. You can't do the military press or the pull, what you call bicycle curls and everything. They have to do that for themselves. And one of the great resources I always recommend, there's a movie called Summerhill, 2008. It's about a school. It's been around for 100 years. There's no compulsion. There's no force. They have amazing success stories. And they don't force their kids to do anything. It's an amazing type of school. It's
So
a
great.
movie. The government, the government in the United Kingdom tried to shut it down a few years ago because it's competition. And we can talk about the intentions of the state school system if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
I mean, they want obedient people to kind of just passively accept laws that are immoral, pay their taxes, pay a third of their income for life, and I hope it's not too radical to say, but in my research in the last few years and realizing where we are in human history and freedom is such, an important like quality of life,
Yeah.
the state is organized crime. And there's a book called Understanding Our Slavery by Etienne de la Boétie Squared, and he calls it intergenerational organized crime. So this is a whole other freedom conversation. We can talk about that a little bit later. But going back to homeschooling is defining what an education is, understanding what homeschooling is, and then helping parents realize, what do you desire for your child? Because if you think that a perfect GPA, a perfect SAT score is going to give them success, that is not the case. Because even I think it's Netflix, Apple, maybe even Google, they don't even require college degrees anymore, for their
Right.
jobs. And they love homeschoolers because homeschoolers are actually motivated. These colleges, they know the game. This is why homeschoolers do so well in college, because if they go to college, they actually want to be there. Whereas so many kids in the forced school system, they go to college to get freedom away from mom and dad, or to go party, or go have a lot of sex, or whatever it is. They actually want to learn. These homeschoolers who go to college, and the colleges know this. And so, homeschooling has been around for, well, forever, right?
Yeah.
Like this is
Yep.
how people learned before compulsory schooling 150 years ago in this country, and over 200 years ago in Germany. So this is a natural way for learning, and it's very abnormal to force people to learn stuff. In fact, when you force people to learn things, they actually resent that and despise that. So that's what I would say is get started, define what the success is, define what education, understand what homeschooling is. You can use my definition or you can use other ones, but mom and dad, you love your child. We know that. And so you have these complete strangers who are agents of the state, and they've been indoctrinated through the teacher colleges
Mhm.
who, again, they don't define success. And success, like I got books in my library here that have been around for 100 years about success, we all know what success is, and you should define it for yourself. But it's like attitude, action, persistence, you know, peace of mind, joy, enthusiasm. These things, concentration. These are all qualities of success, and they've known that. And so this is why, understanding the work of John Gatto and just the history of the school system will give you some confidence to realize that even if you just pull your child out and let them run wild in the house, is going to be a lot better than leaving in that system, in my opinion.
And that's what I'm doing with my son. My son just turned 5, and we do a lot of outside play. We do a lot of discovery. We go to trails, and I'm noticing such a difference of my my public school kids. They come home. I'm like, what did you do today? Same thing, math, spelling. Like, it's nothing that's actually of substance. So I'm finding, and and I work a lot with the health freedom and a lot just in freedom in general in California. And I'm finding the schools are not teaching proper history, right? We know that they don't teach the real history, what's going on, but it's an attack on the family unit. They want our children to lie to us. They want our children to not build a relationship with us, and they want our kids to say school's so much cooler than my mom or whatever, because now we have AB 499, we have AB 329, which is a sex ed curriculum. Not every child is ready for that, and that's not the place of schools. So it's really, really empowering, I know, to start homeschooling. I'm doing it. I'm totally scared. My question for you, and I know a lot of parents have this, legally, what's out there to protect us? Because I know a lot of people are scared that these laws are going to start affecting homeschoolers. So are there entities that are going to help us protect our kids against that type of attack?
Yeah, so in California, the homeschooling laws are pretty lenient. All they have to do is file a private school affidavit,
Mm-hmm.
and they can do that today. They can do it. There's this window in October that the state requires it. But because of these forced vaccines, Denise, this is what really alarmed me the most about the forced
Yeah.
vaccines, because when the state begins to say we can inject these chemicals, these poisons into your child's bloodstream, and then these manufacturers have no liability, this is the canary in the coal mine. So regardless of what the state does, the state would love to outlaw homeschooling, okay? And it used to be illegal, in the 60s and 70s, right? But then parents got together. And so just like what's happening with these rallies there in Sacramento and everything, get together with parents. So regardless of what the state, for example, if the state says, hey, tomorrow homeschooling is illegal, then I'm going to recommend you disobey those laws. The
Yep.
state is organized crime. If you didn't sign any contract saying, hey, I now give my children over to you, then you have no responsibility or obligation to them. Remember, originally, right, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, they were supposed to secure our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. They're supposed to serve us.
Yes.
However, we now see that they're now the predators. Richard Pan and all these criminals out there who are mandating these things, they are the criminals. And so you have to take it back and realize, yes, they have the flag, they got the elections and all these things, but at the end of the day, you have inalienable rights. Mm-hmm. Whether that means in God or nature, you are the supreme one. You are the king, the god, the goddess, whatever you choose. But here's human beings, and here's the state, right? Like, you are superior than the state. It's just a piece of paper. I don't know if any of you guys ever started like a corporation out there. If you ever file the paperwork for a corporation, you pay the state some money, and then they send you back some paperwork, and it says, okay, you now have this corporation. And it's like, where's the corporation? It's imaginary. It is an imaginary fiction. So understand your rights are already inside of you. And so legally, yes, you want to file this private school affidavit, but if it gets bad, okay, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Agenda 21.
Yep.
That's okay. So if you know Agenda 21, you know that the state wants to globalize and create a global state.
Yep.
And they're going to do that through funding themselves with carbon taxes and the global government. It's, again, a giant scam. Okay. So once you realize that this is the agenda, then you want to, share the information with the parents around you and yourself, but then realize that they're the ones who are hurting your rights. And if you just get together with like 4 or 5, families in your neighborhood or in your city and get together, maybe it's 8 families or 10, the state, they're fighting for authoritarianism and taxes, but we're fighting for freedom. We're fighting for
Right.
our generations, so it's like we're fighting for a lot more, and we'll put our life on the line. And they're just fighting for a pension, like Richard Penn. I don't know about all this funding, but he's fighting for his, career and like his money and all these things. But we're actually fighting for the health of our children, for the health of our grandchildren, and they're all in at this point. You saw what happened in New York and what's going on in all these different states. They have showed their cards, in my opinion, and they say we are a tyrannical government, and we don't care about the facts. We don't care about the truth. We are going to jam this down your throat, and first it's going to be MMR vaccines, and there's going to be these other vaccines, and it's unacceptable, in my opinion. So this is why I try to promote freedom as much as I can. There's events in Acapulco. There's events in Vegas happening.
I want to go so bad.
Yeah, consider
Yeah.
coming, really, because there's a lot of people waking up, and the great tactic that these institutions use is divide and conquer. Right, this is what the racism stuff is about, and left-right paradigm and things like that. But once you realize the state is just all one, criminal organization, they want to divide us. So the whites against the blacks, or the Muslims against Christians, or whatever it is. But we're all under attack by this tyrannical institution, and there's a lot of people waking up. So at these events, you can actually get together and meet people face to face, like you or some of my best friends, or people that I met, in 2015, 2016 at these events. So that's a little bit about the homeschooling aspect and having courage.
And that's the thing is, when I went to the AB 329 rally, over maybe 200 parents went to the district and said, we do not consent to this. You guys have to change it. We are the parents. We are the taxpayers. Our children fund your school. That seat is money. Our children are cash cows at this point. None of them listened. They passed it anyways, with parents in the background saying, no, we don't consent. So this is no longer, I've noticed, this is no longer about education. It's no longer about, and really never was, but they're showing their cards. They're showing 2030 is right around the corner. And this was when all the plans are ready to be set out, the vaccines to vaccinate every person on the planet, to have one kind of education. We're seeing Common Core. I can't even help my son with math because I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is not how you do it. I'm not really sure. And this was the plan, right? To stop the parents from helping their children and cutting off that relationship, because now I have to say, you have to ask your teacher because I have no idea what the hell you guys are doing in your classroom. So parents are scared. I'm not terrified. That's a lot of pressure, like the education that we give our kids, that's the pressure that that's what they're going to go off to trade school or whatever they decide to do. And it's scary. We know that they're going to come after homeschoolers, but like you said, there's no contract. They're not in that herd, right? They're not in the herd of school. So it doesn't apply to you. I get a lot of parents saying they're going to come after homeschoolers. We'll try it because they don't apply. We haven't signed anything with them. We haven't given them permission to do any of that. So stop complying. Just like the same thing with medical exemptions. Just stop complying. If you don't comply, the law doesn't apply to you. So what are some programs that parents can get into to start off? Can you name off some homeschool areas, charters or however? And then we have some questions about, what if your child's autistic? How do you then start homeschooling them?
Yeah. So anytime you take money from the state through a charter school or some kind of half and half program, you have some kind of responsibility from the state, right? Because there is no free money.
Right.
So if possible, I recommend parents do just cut ties with the state and leave. However, some of my clients are like, ugh, just like you're like, I'm a little bit scared. I don't know what to
Mm-hmm.
do. So they do, let's say, 3 days in the school and 2 days at home or something like this. And there's a bunch of different schools out there, charters. I don't recommend them because that's promoting the state, and
Right.
I'm all about freedom. I would say, hey, mom and dad, it's going to be difficult for like a couple months or 4 or 5 months because you have to deprogram yourself, right?
That's
We've all
exactly what
been
it is.
programmed that, hey, you have to trust the state, mom and dad, with your child, because education is such a scary thing. And of course, we all realize that their success in life is based on their education. However, real education is lifelong. So when your child graduates high school or college, it's called a commencement ceremony. That means a beginning. So I'm going to be graduating a couple students here this next few weeks. They're 15 years old, they're 16 years old, and I'm able to do this, legally. But even still, like, helping mom and dad realize that education is always happening and coercion is the enemy. That's the main thing that they can get, is that forcing it makes it worse. Okay, so now I don't recommend the state programs, but if you remove your child, let's say they're 8 or 10, 12, there's curriculums, and these are curriculums that I've designed that's based on freedom and respect and love and mutual relationship and voluntary relationships. First of all, curriculum, the root of curriculum means a path or a course. So it's not something that you just memorize and download, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we've been trained, we want a pill to solve everything. We want to push a button to solve everything. And education is not like that. Education is like getting healthy. It's like an everyday thing, right? So if I eat cheeseburgers today, I'm not going to get fat today. But if I eat cheeseburgers every day for 10 years, I'm going to be unhealthy and fat. So being healthy education-wise is pursuing your interests, asking questions. The fundamental curriculum I recommend is called The World as the Classroom. And this is seeing the world truly as the learning environment around us, right? Here we
Mm-hmm.
are on a Monday talking. I'm learning, right? I'm learning about you, listening, and learning like things. And yesterday was Sunday, hang out with some friends. I'm learning then. I'll do some learning today, some reading, So reframing what is an education, mom and dad out there, is it's lifelong. And the state, here's the reality. In California, the actual numbers is about $10,000 to $11,000 per year the state gets for your child.
Mm-hmm.
And they get that by mandatory attendance. This is called average daily attendance. So if your child misses 3 days or is tardy, you get this robotic
Yep.
call. That's because it's the truancy law, and the state makes these imaginary laws that says your child has to be there from age 6 to age 18, and if not, we're going to fine you up to $2,000 or put you in jail for a year. These are actually on the books in the education code right now. These are criminals who think that they can just tell you what to do with your child, okay? So, and then they put you in fear. They got the badges and these things. And so once you start asserting your rights and knowing that these are rights that you're supposed to protect, and you're actually infringing, and you guys are the bad guys. So again, you're dealing with criminals. You got to be careful. You can talk about that later. So understand what a curriculum is. Okay, it's a path, it's a course, and then have it be open-ended. The other type of curriculum is called the question curriculum, and this is where you help your child ask good questions, and then not be afraid to say when they ask you good questions. Right? I'm sure your children are geniuses, and they ask you genius level questions. You're like, man, I don't know, but I got to be the teacher, right? I got to know what's going on here in the classroom. You can say, I don't know. Maybe we can help. We can go look for the answer. We can go to the library. We can look it up on the internet. Who can we ask? Is there anybody in the neighborhood, or is there anybody, at church, or anybody at the, spiritual center we believe in, or whatever it is? We can go ask people, because other adults love to have questions from inquisitive young people.
Yep.
They love it. So say someone's, a blacksmith or an engineer or, a roofer, construction, whatever it is, and they have an 8-year-old or 10-year-old. It's like, man, can I ask them about that? Yeah, we go ask them, oh, you want to come hang out with me for a few hours or something? Like, that's real life learning, and this is why I
Yeah.
focus on apprenticeships, and so we can talk about that. But understand what a curriculum is. There's the question curriculum. I have a free Facebook group called Homeschool Leader, and we go over
Oh,
some of these
great.
things, we have questions. So if you have like, hey, I'm about to, do this, and I'm in California, or I'm in Florida, or whatever it is. Do you have some questions? You can put that in there. But there's a support network that's growing of parents who are just like you, and they're like, man, my child's in the school system, but I want to pull them out, age 8, and we give them some of the facts, some of the philosophies, some of the strategies, because people have been doing this for millennia, but effectively, decades, and there's books written about it. And of course, mom and dad are busy out there. You're fixing dinner and cleaning the house and taking care of bills and all these things. And if you take a look at the world as the classroom curriculum, then you would see, okay, learning is always happening. Although it's 7 p.m. at night, or early in the morning, maybe my son or daughter wants to help me make breakfast. And so
Right.
again, if you focus on the voluntary aspect of it and being a learning partner, it takes a little bit long-term perspective, because it's not like, okay, my child's 8 years old and she's not reading. That's okay. She'll read when she wants to learn to read, right? Because by
Right.
the time she's 14 or 15 or 16 and she's reading like a champion, no one's going to know if she learned to read when she was 6 or she learned to read when she was 10 or 11. This is not what people care about in the real world. They want to see, is she a nice person? Is she friendly? Is she confident? And confidence comes from that ability that says, I can do it, mom and dad. I can do it. So that's, in my belief, is why, well, like our nature, who we are, like gods or goddesses or part of the divine, or something amazing is happening in our life, in our bodies right now. We don't know what it is. Life is a mystery. But by the time your child's 3 or 2 or 4 or 5, they're like, me do it myself. I want to do it
Right.
myself. Let me do it.
And I
And
know,
that's a natural part of them become independent.
and I know a lot of parents, oh God, it drives me crazy. It's, Mom, I want to wash the dishes, and then it's not done right. You're like, just let me do it myself. But I've noticed this is a part of learning. I put my son in a private school, right? A few months back, I paid $400 for part-time, 3 hours, four times a week. So $400 is a lot for me. It's a struggling household. And they we did a parent teacher conference, and then they told me, well, your son doesn't know his letters yet, so we need to put him with this group of kids. The kids are learning and he's behind. So I pulled him out. I'm like, I'm kind of paying you guys to teach him that. So I sat with him for a week, and he learned his letters and he learned his numbers, and now we're putting them together. And that was an eye opening. I told myself, I'm going to put him in homeschool for just a little bit, but when he hits like first grade, I'm going to put him in school, because I don't know if I can take care of this myself. And we can take care of this ourselves. I've learned that the schools, like my son, he gets in trouble if he has to go to the bathroom. He gets a card pulled, right? After lunch, he gets a card pulled because he has to go. And we had a parent teacher conference, and they said, he has to go during breaks. He has to do this. He has to do that. And he has to stay still. He's in school for almost 8 hours a day. And I'm like, you know, as an employee, when I would go to work, I'd have to go to the bathroom. Could you imagine getting reprimanded from your boss all the time for having to go to the bathroom? It's insane. And then he gets a card pulled, and then he gets extra homework because he had to go. This is where our teachers are falling behind a lot. And I love the teachers that are there, but they have to follow a certain curriculum that the school puts out. The school districts are no longer listening to parents. They feel like we're incapable. We're not able to teach our kids. They know what's best. We have found that, and this sex ed curriculum really bothers me. It really bothers me. My son is not mature enough to deal with that. He does come from a two mom household, and people think that because he does, he's totally ready. He should understand what genders are. He should understand what same-sex couples are, but he is mentally not prepared, and I'm not prepared to have him come home and tell his 5-year-old brother either. So, I want parents to feel empowered. Just like listening to you, I feel like I'm able to do this. There's a lot of
Right.
resources out there for us. Um,
Yeah.
Homeschool, find kids in your area. And this is my problem. I don't do well with making friends, which
Yeah.
makes me not do well with finding people who have the same age children. But there are tons of groups out there. Your group, what's your group name again?
It's called Homeschool Leader, and we have about 1,200 members in there now. So just go to Homeschool Leader on Facebook, hit join. Right now it's free. I don't know if I'll charge in the future, but we're pretty active. You know, I try to post something in there every day, and there's mothers posting in there too, because you are not alone, Denise, and other mothers out there. Like, we are realizing the state with their forced vaccines and the sex ed. I mean, my gosh, the sex
Jesus,
ed is so unbelievable.
it's driving me
It's like,
nuts. It's driving me nuts.
it should. That means you're a healthy minded mother, because this is super. I mean, first of all, they're strangers. These guys are complete strangers,
Yeah.
and they're going to be telling your son or someone's daughters, "Hey, this is a carrot, and you can use this, for sex and shove it up your butt or whatever." It's like, I'm looking at some of the curriculum, and they took some of the stuff off the internet the last few months, but I saw this stuff, and again, they put fear into the parents, saying, we're going to take care of it. Just, let the experts take care of it. And the truth is, they're not experts. They just went
Nope.
to teachers college, and that's it. They don't have the love, because love is what this whole life is about, in my conclusion. And maybe I'm off or wrong, but it seems like love is the answer. When you are loved, you have confidence and strength. Hey, if I fall down, my mom's got my back, or my father, or my uncle, or my friend. If you don't have parents, if someone genuinely loves you for your humanity, you can go really far. And some of the greatest people in this world have come from broken homes, so they had found some love somewhere. And these teachers, again, they're part of the system, and if they don't obey, they will get fired. So
Yep.
again, this is what they're after: a paycheck, and we're after healthy minded children that are empowered, that are excited, that love learning. And even as it relates to the doing the dishes, right? I just posted something about a laundry curriculum, because dirty laundry is a fact of life, and maybe your 4-year-old or 5-year-old is going to come along, and they do want to help. So you don't let them do it all by themselves, but if they want to sort the colors or pour the soap in, let them, so that they can realize, I can do it, and that is the daily confidence that they can build. And if they're doing the dishes, maybe they stand on a chair in front of you, and you do it together. Your hands are touching. Again, there's power in touching, flesh to flesh. We're beings. We need hugs. We need kisses, and just using that as a opportunity to touch their hands, and, okay, we do it like this, honey, and just being compassionate and being peaceful. So more than like going out there and say, hey, you got to be nice to your friends or be peaceful, when they see mom being peaceful with me,
Yeah.
oh, this is how we do it. And remember, they're 5 years old, 7, 8, whatever it is, 10. They're still young and learning about their bodily functions, and they're not worried about, can I read, or can I do these things. But their natural curiosity is the driving factor in real learning, right? Like,
Right.
now you and I are grown adults. I don't learn to get gold stars or get a GPA, or I'm going to get into some college or something. I'm learning because I want to improve as a human. I want to get better. I want to try to stay ahead of the curve, or inspire other people, or give information to other people, because real soon we're going to be warm food, and we're going to be in the ground, right? This is a fast life, and to keep that perspective, I think, is really important as well. And I mean, there's value in like walking around in the cemetery and saying, hey, yeah, we're born, we go through life, and then this guy, he died in 1975, and and having that conversation, right? So this
Right.
is, again, opening up the world as the classroom.
And I was talking to my friend about this, that people under 30, and this is just a general statement, it's not for everybody, but they don't really know how to do too many things. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to do their laundry. They don't know how to do life skills, balance a checkbook, if you choose to have a bank account, which, that's a whole different story. But these are the things that I want to teach my children, because when they go off, they're not going to be using Common Core math. They're going to have to learn how to be self-sufficient, and how to read a map, how to write their name in cursive, because they don't know how to do that anymore. They don't teach cursive in school. So how are they going to sign their name? These are life skills that my son is my 8-year-old. He's like, Mom, I want to learn cursive. And very randomly, He's like, I asked my teacher and she says that we're not allowed to learn that in school. And I'm like, what exactly are they telling you guys in school then? What are you doing? And I went to a parent teacher conference. It was 4 hours of Common Core math. The rest was just reading and a little bit of science. There's really no history. This is what my children are learning in school. My daughter went to a college in Sacramento, and she learned nothing. She's like, it was classes of vaccines. It was classes of fake history. And she's like, this isn't for me. This isn't something that I want to do. She wanted to be a doctor, and they were completely indoctrinating her to say, don't tell patients that. Don't do this. Don't tell them the truth. And this is where we're at now. Now we have an entire generation that has no idea what's happening in the world. They are completely ingrained in video games and music videos and television, and they don't understand the history. And if you don't understand the history, then you're bound to repeat it. So we're seeing history right now being repeated. So I want you parents who are watching this to know you're not by yourself, trust me, because I'm terrified. But the ones who work, right? We have a lot of parents who say, I can't homeschool because I work. Find a local parent, and I've been helping other parents do this. Find a local parent who does homeschool, build a co-op, so that way, okay, I'm going to help you with this while I go to work, and then vice versa. We all take turns. This is where we're at now. We're going to have to start building co-ops and compounds and areas where parents are helping each other. There's the saying, it takes a village, right? It takes a village to raise a child. Well, that village is too much in our homes now. They feel schools are better equipped to take care of your children. They feel the government is better equipped to tell you what to do with your kids. It takes a village as far as, I need help homeschooling, I have to work. But you don't belong in my home. You don't belong in my rights, and you don't belong in the area for me to tell me what kind of health I need to give for my kids. So if you are a working parent, some background, if you are a working parent, message me and we'll help you find a co-op in your area to help you homeschool your kids, because it's time to pull them out. That's it. At the end of the day, it's time to pull them out. These schools aren't listening. These schools don't care. So I'm in Northern California. So if you guys are in the area, message me and we'll kind of work something out. So David, do you know of any co-ops areas in your neck of the woods?
I don't follow the co-ops. Again, I have respect for the homeschool associations that are out there doing work. I submitted an application to a particular homeschool association and they rejected me, and my topic was going to talk about voluntary relationships. Okay. Again, the last maybe 6 or 12 months, I've gotten clear that the state is organized crime. And so I in a soft way, said I'm going to talk about voluntarism, right? And these are the ideas of anarchy, which doesn't mean no rules. It just means no rulers. It means no masters, no slaves. That's all it means. And so I said, I'm going to talk about that. And they rejected my proposal. And it's like, okay, so I got respect for those people that are doing what they can to help people homeschool. And I think we have to build something better.
Right.
I started another group called Voluntary Village Creators because I see forced vaccines going nationwide unless mom and dads get serious.
Yep.
So that's to get another free Facebook group, because I want to build a village and I want to have children and I want to be able to have neighbors I can trust, people that aren't going to call the cops for, let's say there's the trees on their side of the fence or something. I'm going to call the cops. How about you just call the neighbor, and let's work it out voluntarily, peacefully. Let's find a compromise or a negotiation, because sadly there's a lot of demoralized people who think that the state really is the authority.
They do.
And they forgot that they are their own authority. And whether they believe in God or not, the creator or evolution or whatever's going on here has given us the ability to be conscious, right? Other animals or other beings are not conscious that we know of. Maybe, I don't know, like dolphins or things they know, but like we're creators. We can create art. We can create these things, and we know that we are alive. And this is one of the distinctions of being human. So anyways, I started this group, Voluntary Village Creators. Also, as you mentioned, making money from home, I started another group called Homeschool Traders. where we're going through. This is in the very beginning. I'm learning too about what's called foreign exchange trading, and this is way larger than the stock market. And I just discovered this last year from one of my financial mentors. It's another Facebook group for free. You can go on there and learn and talk about these things. But we're addressing the two biggest challenges to homeschooling is courage and confidence and the financial aspect of it. So
Yeah.
that's why Homeschool Leader is there, so we can give you courage and confidence and some strategies. And then Homeschool Trader, if you want, you can learn a skill. Let's not get rich overnight, get rich quick overnight, but if you commit, maybe in a few months or 12 months, 18 months, you can learn a skill, because there is large opportunity in global markets and economies and things that I'm just like, I didn't even know. Just to give you an idea, the stock market has about $35 billion of transactions every day, and the foreign exchange market does over $5 trillion of
Wow.
transactions per day. So money's going back and forth, and what you do is just learn some of the charts and things, and you can make some money if you want to do that. So there are solutions out there. The co-op, I recommend if you have some neighbors, you can join theirs.
That's what I'm talking about. Not
Yeah.
really a state funded. I don't want any money from the state, because then I'm going to have to follow what they tell me to do. I'm trying to move away from mainstream. I'm trying to move away from mainstream jobs. And that's why a lot of MLM people, we're seeing moms selling things online, because we're trying to make ourselves a little more accessible to our children. We're trying to be there the way it should be. This was all an agenda. It was carefully thought out, to where now you need two parents to work, right? And you need to send your kids to public school. The public school is now indoctrinating your kids to lie to their parents, don't follow their morals, don't follow their beliefs. Like I said, I was married, I had an ex-wife. It is not my place to tell you to accept my personal life. And it's not the school's place to tell you guys that your children have to accept this, because then they're going to go home to parents who don't accept it. And, is it hard? It was hard growing up. It was hard being in the LGBT community, because it's a hard life. You have a lot of people judging you for what you do in the privacy of your own home. But it's just that, the privacy of your own home. And it's not the school's responsibility to tell your children that they have to accept it. That's the parent's responsibility to raise your child to be a good person and to not judge people by what they do privately. I don't want to push my life on anybody. That is not my place. And this is where we have to start taking our powers back. I saw a mom say, can we start our kids off at 3? Yes, I started my son off at 3, but it wasn't in a classroom. We went on hikes. We go to museums. We go to science museums. We're like, wow, look at how this is made. That is what I'm trying to teach my kid. I'm not trying to have them sit down in a classroom for hours on end and follow a certain curriculum that the state wants me to follow. That's why I don't want to take money from the state. When I say co-ops, I say your neighbors. If you know somebody in your city who homeschools, join together, start learning together, learn the free play, learn how to make friends, because that's a real hard thing. I didn't learn how to make friends in school because I was sitting in the classroom for hours on end. You don't learn how to make friends.
Right.
You learn how to be silent and to be still and to follow exactly what they're telling you to do with no questions asked. I want my kids to ask me questions. I want them to question authority. I think that's really important. I don't want them to just say, okay, because you have a badge, that's all, that's what you say. No, know your rights. We're doing, I bought a kid's book, the Constitution. So we read it. So that way they learn it is okay to question authority. It is okay to say why that's not right. Because if there's nobody left to ask, why are you doing this? Then our rights are going to be stripped away by the time my child hits 18. He's not going to have any. So it's up to us to tell our children to start asking questions. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to question your teacher. My son questions his teacher, and his teacher says, don't ask me that. Don't ask me why. This is the way it is. And now I have a child who follows the sheep. And I'm trying to deprogram myself, and I'm trying to deprogram my children. It's hard. It's hard to deprogram yourself.
Right. Right. It is. No, I think you nailed it right there. Deprogramming your own mind, right? Because we have decades of years of living and have gotten corporate programming. We've got the school programming. the schools have put fear inside of us. And so the child is happy to be in school, they're happy to be out of school, but they don't realize they're being programmed subconsciously with this authoritarianism. I mean, asking permission to go to the bathroom has got to be one of the most dehumanizing things ever.
It irks
Right?
me.
Never in
It
life.
irks me.
Never in life, right, will they ever have to ask permission to go to the bathroom, even if you're at a high corporate job or a low level, low level job, whatever it is. You just go to the bathroom. The managers will say, yeah, the bathroom's right over there.
Why are you
Don't
asking
ask me,
me?
man.
Yeah.
Just go.
I know.
Right?
I don't know
So,
why that drives me insane. Insane.
you know why? Because you're a free-minded person, and that's healthy. It should drive you insane because we're starting to see that all this corporate branding of the schools is being revealed, and we're like, man, this is tyranny. Teaching my 5-year-old or 8-year-old about sex, like, who are you guys? And then some of these districts and schools don't allow you to opt out. So little by little, you can see this institution creeping in, and like you said, they want to divide you from your children. And that has been identified because if they want a global government, right, it's always focused on this global state, they have to break up the family. And they do that by breaking a relationship with mom, because normally dad's out there working or whoever the breadwinner is, and mom's home. She's the lover, the nurturer, and you break that relationship, and now the kids, they will go do the stuff that they did in Nazi Germany or all these other totalitarian places where there's no family. The state is the family, right? And that's what they know. And they're following these programs that have been proven over history, and it's breaking up the home. So I think that's one of the agendas with the sex ed, is that it's like so alarming that it's like, whoa, what do you do? And then again, mom and dad are hopeless and lost. They don't know what to do. And so that's why I started this group, Homeschool Leader. And we'll have, I did a training with my friend Sheena Alexandra about the history of public schooling, homeschool training. That's part one of the module. It's not released yet, but it will be. If people want to email me, just email me at info@homeschoolleader.com. I'll give you the first lesson for free. But once you understand that the schools specifically said we want to have obedient people, you're like, why? Why do you want that? Well, the short version is that back in Prussia, which was Germany in the 1800s, they were a military state, and they wanted soldiers to be blind order followers. And then when the officer says forward march, they would just walk into the bullets, and the bullets would come and hit them, and they would just keep walking like a robot because they've been dehumanized. And that's what's happening to our children. They don't realize their life is important. Their life matters, and you're not just some cog in a system. You are one of infinite beings, and you're here, and one day you won't be here. So enjoy and live and love and do what you're going to do. Pursue your dreams and go after it. Don't be an order follower who just follows what all these guys tell you to do, because that is coming. That is exactly what George Orwell wrote in his book, 1984, right, which was written in 1948. There's Brave New World by the Huxleys. These guys are all foreshadowing the state of the world, which is going to come unless people wake up. So despite all this tyranny, I do have hope, but it's mom and dads who I have hope in, because your children are under attack and they're being injected with all these things. But if you can just gain a little bit of courage and then make friends with you, Denise, and other people out there that are doing this, come and join my group if you want, or other groups out there. I should also distinguish something for your audience, the term unschooling. So I gave the definition of homeschooling, right, where the leader creates an atmosphere where personalized learning can occur. Unschooling is 100% self-directed learning. And that's, I consider, the ideal. Right? So just like you and I, we direct ourselves, whether we have a boss in our job or whatever or not. We're the ones. We choose to work there, or we choose to start our own business, or we choose whatever we want. We are directing our life. And that is truly the sign of an educated person, is that they can direct themselves. They can go create some goals, create some action strategies, learn from some of the people who've gone down that path. We are original, unique beings. But, providing shelter for ourselves, having food, having a livelihood, these are things which have been known. And, of course, with the internet, there's new opportunities. You mentioned, network marketing and online marketing and all these different things. These are all great opportunities if you go out and build and learn some of the social skills. And maybe we can talk about that right now. Um, Socialization is probably the third, obstacle that
Yeah.
blocks parents. Say, "Whoa, my child's not going to be socialized if they don't go to this compulsory government school." Well, in schools, you're not allowed to talk to your friends. They call
Nope.
that cheating, right? And they get 25 minutes, as you mentioned, of playtime, and that's actually antisocial behavior. So when your child goes to a homeschool co-op, they go to a library, they go do some internships or mentorships, they actually are being more social in those environments than in the government school environment. So you want to distinguish between socialization and being around a bunch of other caged children,
Yeah.
because in my definition, the forced school system is a day prison. From 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., you're not allowed to go to the bathroom without permission. You can't go where you want. You have complete strangers telling you what to do, what goes into your mind. And I don't know if you saw some of the videos of what's the public school food looks like in New York. This guy pulled out some cheese, tried to light the cheese. It
It
doesn't
did
even
melt.
melt. It's like plastic. It's like, so you're feeding our kids, plastic as food. And then there was another one I just saw where the student tried to share his lunch with his friend because
Yep.
his friend forgot his lunch, and he got in trouble. He got detention. So we're starting to see all these signs which before we didn't see on traditional news media. Because here's the other part: the regular television and newspapers, some of their biggest advertisers are these schools, meaning the National Education Association or American Federation of Teachers. They're big advertisers at these news outlets. So they're not going to say bad stories about the truth or about what's happening in these schools, just like pharmaceutical companies are big advertisers.
Yep.
So these news outlets aren't going to report negative stories. So again, this is humanity's consciousness is waking up and realizing, damn, like we're kind of in a tough spot right now,
Yep.
which we are. However, people are awakening to what's going on. It's like, okay, let's start our own little group. Let's start our own little village. Let's figure out how to do this, because if you go to what Buckminster Fuller said, one of the great guys in my life that is no longer around. He's a great scientist. He said every child is a born genius. The challenge is they get de-geniused trying to please their teachers and please their parents. So also Einstein said that as well. Everyone's a genius. And I think that's pretty accurate, and if genius is too like idealistic, say brilliant, because if you were wanting to learn 5 languages as a child, you could learn 5 languages. If you were around and listening and do all these things, you could
Yep.
have learned all these languages. You could the musical abilities and things like that. We are so capable. And as you, mom and dad, step into your capabilities, your brilliance, your divine creation or divine power, you realize, okay, so this third party organization, they're the bad guys, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. You're forcing me.
They have indoctrinated us so much to where mothers feel incapable of taking care of their children. We feel like we should not be asking doctors questions because we're just mothers. We're just barefoot and pregnant mothers. Shouldn't be reading. And
Yeah.
we've been taught that we aren't capable of telling our kids what's in the best interests of our family. We're taught we cannot possibly make medical decisions for our children. We can't possibly make educational decisions for our children. And I want to touch back on that school lunch thing. In the news, we're seeing that we pay taxes. Some people pay a higher amount of taxes. I pay a shitload of taxes. And we are seeing in my kids' school, there are kids who are getting cheese sandwiches because they can't afford their lunch. It should be free. School lunches should be free, and it should be healthy lunches. We're getting frozen food. We're getting cheese sandwiches. My daughter sent me a picture of moldy fruit that they gave her. This is what they're basically making our children feel like they're not worthy of anything. They have to sit, they have to listen, they can't ask questions, they have to pay for certain things that they have already paid for. Our children already paid for their spot, right? They're giving their school thousands of dollars a year. So their lunch should be free and it should be healthy, but now we're having unhealthy food, and sometimes that's the only food that those children get, especially in my community. What they eat at school is all they eat for the rest of the day. So now they're being fed this crap, both educationally and food wise. So we as parents, and this is something I struggle with, but I'm getting there. We are fully capable of doing this with our kids. Fully capable. My son helped me birth my puppies. You know, my dog was in labor and he was fascinated. He's looking and he's popping the sack of the puppies and he's getting them, you know, and he saw, you know, one of the puppies didn't make it, but that's something they're not going to get in school. They're never going to learn that stuff in school. And I love seeing parents who home birth and then have their children there to watch the home birth. These are skills that they're not going to get in school. Ask your child what they're every day after school, what they're coming home with. What did you learn? What did you do? What did you ask? And you're going to see they didn't learn much. You know, they're learning what's out of a textbook, and that's not something that there's, huh? Yes, sorry. And that's something they're not going to get in school. And I'm really so happy that you're helping these parents wake up. It's time.
Yeah, absolutely. It is time. And even like you said, you ask the child, what did you learn from school? By the time it's 3 o'clock, they're just like, nothing. I just want a break. I'm
Yeah.
tired of all this programming. They're not gonna say that word, or conditioning. They'll say, I hate school or I hate learning. So when they say stuff like that, try to put that through your filter through the state compulsory system. So if you're at that age, then it's like, okay, I didn't like being forced to do stuff, and now it's been, 30 years or however many years it's been since you were in school. It's progressed. And these psychopaths who run these organizations at the highest levels, they have their agenda, and some of them maybe don't even realize, this is going to a global state, and some of them do. But what they're really learning is the systemization of their own mind, and the bells that ring every 45 minutes, and the bell rings, you got to go. And you got to sit down, you got to shut up like you mentioned. You're unworthy. So again, once you have a low self-esteem, a conditioned human being, they're easier to manage.
So
And
easy.
that's what's happening. And so they don't want independent free thinkers. I don't know if you saw the video of the 12-year-old reporter. I think it's called the Orange newspaper or something. She started reporting on a murder when she was 9 years old, and now she's 12. And some police officer came over and was trying to bully her, and she basically confronted him. And she's a 12-year-old girl confronting this police officer, and she made a story about it. It was unbelievable.
That's
So
awesome.
imagine if you had a million independent journalists like that. The whole system would probably collapse, because it's
Absolutely.
starting to be revealed, like, oh, you guys with the badges, I'm sure there's some nice guys, but I've just gotten harassed and berated from those guys most of my life, stealing money from me, doing all these things. So when you have young people that are critical thinkers, and then they can speak, right? So this is the other part of it, is that we're geniuses, kids are geniuses, and then when they try to get words out, don't worry about the grammar when they're 5 or 8 or 10. That will come, but let them gain the confidence that my words matter. And when I speak, I'm going to want that to get every little comma, every little spelling right. So they're worried about these minor things, when in reality, if you can learn to speak in public by the time you're 15 or 18 or 25 or 30 or however old you are, it doesn't matter what old you are, if you can present in public, you are an important person in the business world, because
Oh,
now you can
yeah.
take an idea, or you take some of the community, you can go facilitate people. And remember, just one person like Martin Luther King or some other person that you might respect out there, he was an orator, he was a pastor, he was a preacher. So when he had a microphone, he could speak. And so if you want to have young people start spreading freedom, then little by little allow them to share their ideas or their, show and tell. And so I have another curriculum in that group. It's called the presentation curriculum, where it doesn't got to be some formal
That's
thing, but
great.
if they're like, oh, yeah, they're like, oh, I got this little caterpillar, or I got this flower, then you take a moment, you take 2 minutes, tell me about it, and you sit and you become their audience for 2 minutes or 5 minutes. You pause what you're doing, and you say, tell me about it, baby. And they say, oh, it's this and that, and it's crazy, and they go wild. They say, that's awesome, great job. That was great presentation, and then maybe later on it's about flowers, or later on it's about, the whatever. But little by little, they realize I am valuable. I'm really important in this life, and that will start to unfold as they go through puberty and into young adulthood. And it's like, I am important. And then if they can speak, my gosh, they become powerful, and then they're in freedom,
I love
and now
that.
you have a revolutionary.
I
Yeah.
and that's what we're trying to raise. I mean, all the parents who go to these rallies, all the parents who go to the hearings, my son sits there with me for 12 hours. We'll sit in a hearing and he's watching and he's understanding, and I explain it to him. These are the people who are making these bogus laws. And yes, I tell him, and this is a day in civics. This is a day to learn how your government works. Even at this age, at 5 years old, he understands why we go to the Capitol, and he understands why we rally, and he understands why mom does what she does. And these are the next, this is the next generation of people who are going to speak out. And because all these laws, they don't affect me, they don't affect my mom, they're going to affect my children. And the only way to stop them is to have the children speak up. And I'm so excited to have I see all the kids out there, and they're understanding and they're seeing it. And this is a generation that's going to fix the tyranny that's happening, as long as we teach them the right way. And the right way is not public school. It's not. They don't teach the correct history. My son came home on Thanksgiving and said, "Oh, Columbus asked the pilgrims nicely if he can have their land." And he drew a picture and he was so excited about it. So what the hell are they teaching? So I asked the teacher, and she says, "Well, we don't want to teach that information to the kids this young, but you're going to teach them how to masturbate with a banana." This is where we're at. Pull your kids out
Right.
of school. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm
Yeah, it
ready to
is.
do it.
Good. Yeah, no, I feel you're ready too, because part of the other secret, like regardless of some of the curriculums that I share, some of the philosophies here, is if you have a strong desire to do it, you'll figure it out, right?
Right.
So despite, I just got some of these things, so I was working with John Gatto, um, the Education Options Expo. I had some speakers come over here and did some research. There's an organization called the Alternative Education Resource Organization in New York. They've been around for 30 years. They're all about voluntary schools. So there's schools, and there might be something in, I don't know if you're like in the LA area, they might be having down there right now called Agile Learning Centers. So there's actual schools too that don't use force. So if mom and dad like want to transition and put them in a school, the challenge is the tuition can be a little bit high on them sometimes, but they're really respectful. They don't use coercion. It's really
Oh,
powerful.
good.
But if the parents have a big why, big enough reasons, and multiple reasons, sex ed, vaccines, terrible food, you have to go get permission to go to the bathroom, right? You just start stacking up these different reasons, and then it doesn't matter what comes. It's like I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we are
We're
gonna
going to
do
do
it.
it.
And you call up your girlfriends, you call up your neighbors. Hey, I'm gonna figure this out, and you just take one day at a time. And as you mentioned, we have to deprogram ourselves. And this is where the real work comes in, because we have to redefine these things. And if that's too much work, it's okay. But begin planting the seeds. I've had some clients who've been following me for a couple years, and they're like, they finally hired me, or they finally took their kids out of school, and they said, it took me a while, but I'm ready, I'm doing it. I'm like, okay, it took you 2 years or 3 years. Now you're doing it fine. It doesn't matter. Take as much time as you need. And remember that the state is coming, and they've revealed their cards here in California,
Yep.
West Virginia, Mississippi. They're showing it in Colorado and Oregon. I mean, how many more states is going to have to happen until like everyone's like, holy shit, dude, like this is crazy, man. You
Yep.
guys are out of control. And that's what's
Yep.
happening. So there's a lot of awakening happening, a lot of awareness happening. And I feel like you and I are just, newly friends in real life. Here, I think we've been Facebook friends for a while, but it's like just in our conversation, I'm like, yeah, you're ready. You got it,
Oh, I'm
Denise. You
ready.
can go
Yeah.
for it.
Ready. I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm done with the system. I'm done with the only way we're going to make a change is by hurting them in the pockets. That's the only way we're going to make a change. We can go to the districts, we can rally, we can petition, we can do all of it because we've done it since 2015. Really, with SB 277, the school systems were not required to adopt an unlawful law like SB 277. So we have seen the school system has failed us. The school system has failed our children miserably. So we're
Right.
ready to hurt them in their pockets, take that $11,000 that you give that school district take them out of school. Can we get our taxes back? No, but we can sure as hell pull our kids from the system that they don't even want our children there anyways. They don't want my son there. They try to kick him out at every single point because he has a medical exemption. They try to kick him out for medical status when they have other children who are protected by the Americans with Disability Act who are actually sick. So it's time to pull them out. It's time to bring your power back as a parent. Start homeschooling, start getting together with other parents in your area. You don't necessarily have to do a co-op, but you can build your own socialization skills with other parents. So I'm so glad that you're able to guide my followers and your followers. I appreciate you more than you know. You gave me a little bit of inspiration today to just say, just do it.
Good. Well, I got to invite your audience members to Las Vegas then. There's an event called Anarcha Vegas, July 21st. You get a 10% discount if you use the homeschool code, the discount code called homeschool. I've spoken at other events in Acapulco about making state schools obsolete. Here's the other quote by Buckminster Fuller. He said, you don't change reality by fighting against it. You got to create a new model that makes the old model obsolete. This is why Netflix put Blockbuster out of business. Blockbuster was not evolving, and so Netflix came in and did live stream videos. So now Blockbuster is gone, and now Netflix is a huge successful business. And because homeschooling has been proven, I think it's going to continue to expand. There's other support organizations out there. Feel free to join them. But if you have time, come down and meet other freedom-minded people in Las Vegas. It's a one-day event on a Sunday.
Yeah,
it's going to be the first one. They just did an event in Arizona in March, and there's an event in Philadelphia, I think, in June. So if you're on the East Coast, maybe Philadelphia is the place to go. I'm not going to go there, I don't think yet. There's another event called the Red Pill Expo. That's in
I want to do that.
Connecticut.
Yeah, I want to go there.
Yep, that one's on the East Coast as well. So link up with these people if you can in real life. I mean, that's the power of it, is that you can meet people in real life, and then whether you're in California or Massachusetts or wherever you live, you can stay in touch digitally. You can call them up on the phone, and then now you have a conscious, brother or sister in the fight, in the struggle. That's like, hey, what are you doing? I don't know. I got a kid. I'm doing this. What are you doing? And you start to share ideas, and maybe you'll do some projects together. Maybe you start some organization together. But I think the point that you said is that hit them in the pocket. When you remove your child from the school system, that does reduce the money that the district gets, and now you have their attention. That's why it's compulsory attendance, because it's this giant money-making scheme. And the public school system is valued, the budget's over $600 billion a year. So it's a huge business, and they just think as our children as just cogs or pieces of wood or metal to be shaped and formed and fitted, and they're not. They're spirits, they're beings, they're the ones that we love the most, and we have it's basically our legacy. Inside of them is our legacy, and the state is coming in there to try to hurt them. So there's these events. I hope you consider them. Feel free to join the Facebook group Homeschool Leader. There's Homeschool Trader, and there's Voluntary Village Creators as well. The people are starting to realize that tyranny is now not coming. It's here.
It's here.
They've revealed themselves, and have hope, because there's people speaking out like yourself and me and many other people out there. And the more that we get out there and talk about it and reveal the truth that your rights come from your humanity or from God or whatever, but they don't come from the state.
Nope.
And this is very empowering, and you have so much ability, so much potential, and so do your children. And so these criminals are coming after them, but we're rising up as well, and we're not gonna lay down. You and maybe me, we're gonna keep going, and I think humanity will win. But it's very very gloomy right now, because we're starting to see them take off the velvet glove and show us the iron fist. So don't take it lightly, but you can do this, Mom and Dad, and so
absolutely. So thank you so much. Now, this video will be uploaded to my YouTube. It's called The Informed Mama, and you guys can share it, watch it, however you choose, and then join the groups. You guys get together, and if you guys have any questions, put them on here, and I will go through them and answer them as best I can. And maybe David, you'll be able to do that also. So thank you again for coming on and helping us get inspired to remove our children from the system. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you again. And just the last plug here, there's one more project coming out. It's called the Gatto Project. It's an acronym, and it's called Get All the Thinkers Out for Schools. So whether it's homeschool or private school, whatever it is, get them out. And this will be launching soon as well. So go to gattoproject.com if you want to stay informed as well. But this is happening, and I'm so glad you invited me on. And hopefully, yeah, share some ideas, some value. Maybe we'll do it again in the future and continue the
Absolutely.
relationship. So
Yeah,
very nice chat with you,
absolutely.
Denise.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, and have a great day, you guys. I will talk to
Yes,
you again later. Bye-bye.
you bet. See ya. Bye.
Bye.